Bear with us just 1 second. We'll be with you. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. This will be our first live. We really appreciate all the support that we have seen. It is greatly appreciated and will not go unnoticed. This evening, we are going to turn a, Zen pen kit. It's probably one of my favorite kits. It is a single barrel. It shows the blank off really well. You can get your blanks from Unbelievable Blanks Facebook group. This would be the Zen pen kit from Exotic Blanks. We will be using a Novichok with a pair of pin jaws in it. And we will be using our keyed chuck with a 10.5 millimeter drill bit. And if you can see, we have marked the spot where we know that'll be the end of our blank. We have 3 blanks that we're going to drill up this evening. This one you probably have not seen posted yet. We have one that's of our purple abalone. And then we have our woodland camo blank as well. And if all goes well, we have enough time, we are going to drill and turn a diamond pin blank into a diamond pin. It'll just be a basic shape. we have that choice. This is from our competition from this month, which I apologize, the voting did not get posted today, but it will get posted tomorrow, and the members will be allowed to vote on it until Thursday. We'll get out one of our ubiquitous Sharpies here, and we will choose where we want to see the most amount of activity in our blank. And it looks like the end may be a good choice. So we'll mark it. We will also go ahead and measure out and mark up our diamond blanks. You know what? We can go ahead and set up the bandsaw to cut them each at 5 1/4. No big deal. Give me 1 second and I'll be right back. We'll go ahead and cut these off. Okay, make sure we didn't make any mistakes while cutting. Nope, they all look okay. If you notice that the brass looks rough, depending on where you get your kits from, sometimes they come with the tube already roughed up. Sometimes they don't. We prefer to rough the tube up. Gives it better adhesion. Okay, let's drill these out. I always like to leave a little extra just in case for some reason you drill too hard, too fast, you have a blowout. There's at least a little bit of forgiveness. Okay, those are all drilled out. We can take our 10.5 millimeter out of there. You can use a keyed or keyless chuck, whichever you prefer. Um, I guess being old school, we've always used a keyed, but a keyless works just as well. Some people prefer to use epoxy, some prefer to use CA glue, and some prefer to use JB Weld 5-minute epoxy for gluing in your blanks or your tubes into your blanks. You can use whatever you have available, whatever you can afford. We prefer to use Mercury Medium. And I typically will put on a pair of latex gloves just because it's a real joy to get off your fingers when your fingers are stuck to something else. Okay, we also have a handy pin insertion tool. And the method that you will see us glue in the tubes with is something that has always worked well for us. I just sprayed a little bit of alcohol down inside the blanks. They are clean and blown out, so they should be dry. I always put just a little bit in one end, turn it, a little bit in the other end and turn it. Put a generous amount on the blank. Insert it and twist it while it's going in. Go to the other end, do the same. If you can see, usually end up with pretty good glue up that way. And then just use your insertion tool. Make sure you're close. And looks like we're good. Like I said, CA glue is no fun to get off your fingers. So I prefer to wear a glove. And as you can see, some on my glove. The only thing that I know that will take CA glue off is you can use CA glue debonder, or if you have about 30 minutes to wait, that skin that has a CA on it, whether that be a finger or hand or whatever, as long as there's a liberal amount of olive oil applied to it, it will come off. The olive oil will break down the CA in about 30 minutes or so. Okay, let me hit these with a little bit of accelerator. We're going to let that set up a minute. In the meantime, we will get our trim tool set up to trim and square up the ends. If you have not used one of these, they are super, super handy. This is from Penn State Industries. This is the MLCS. It's a 5-inch sander with a dedicated stop. It will come with bushings. It will come with a set of bushings like so. They will fit most of the pen sizes you'll ever need. I've yet to find one that I had a tube that I didn't have one for. We are 10.5 millimeter for the Zen kit. Sometimes you end up with a little CA glue in the end of them. The handy X-Acto knife is good for cleaning that out. And as you can see, we had a little bit in the end of there. There's a couple ways you can prevent it. Some people like to use a piece of Play-Doh. Some people like to use a piece of carrot. Some people put a little bit of paste wax on the inside. It's never been a huge problem for us to clean out with an X-Acto knife, so I don't necessarily use any of the other methods. Okay, let me take off a little extra with the bandsaw. We have a little excess that would take a long time to grind. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, now we will clean up the ends and we'll get right back with you. Pardon the noise from the dust collector. Okay, we can actually get our keyed chuck back out, and we are going to drill a hole in the end of our blank. As we have stated many times in the past, we do not sell diamond painting pens. We do give them away in our giveaways. We'll give one away this evening. But if you're looking to get a diamond painting pen custom made from one of our blanks that you claim in the drops, we work with several great turners, and you can check those turners out. They are Donna Bass Pens and More. They are Enablers Outpost. They are Tim and Carrie over at Leopard Leatherworks. We are from West Virginia, and ironically, so is Tim, originally born and raised in West Virginia. He was in the northern part of the state, and we're kind of like in the elbow part near the Mason-Dixon line. And we also work with O'Brien's Custom Turning. And if you're outside the U.S. and you're in Canada, we work with a bi-weekly drop with Creations Morin, and we also do drops with Realizations with Eric and Corrine. Okay, let's drill this out. I knew something didn't look straight. Our drill bit was in there crooked. Let's show you one more thing we make. If you need one of these and you are a turner watching this, we make this very handy squaring jig. You can put your blank in, and this works for square or round. Make a mark, make a mark. And that'll give you an idea where your round is. See if we can get that a little closer to true. This is our competition blank from this month. It is truly amazing, the colors that are in it. the colors we have seen from those who turned the pen this year or this month, there are some real stunners, as you will be able to see tomorrow when you vote. We have been very, very fortunate that there are some really amazing turners, pen makers in our group, and there are some very promising up and coming pen makers as well. The competition will be definitely a hard decision. I'm glad that's all on you, the members, because it would be very difficult for us to choose a winner. I'm glad I'm not part of that. Okay, that part is finished. Okay, I believe our glue is dried up, ready to go. We can take off our drilling chuck. If you have any questions regarding the lathe you have, feel free to message us. You can find us on Facebook under my name, Troy Shipley, or you can message us under Unbelievable Utensils. You'll probably get a little faster response under Troy Shipley. Now we need a live center, and we need a dead center for the drive. There are lots of ways to turn the blanks. There are lots of ways to turn your pens once they're drilled up. I prefer this method. Some people prefer using a mandrel. I have found this method to be the most accurate and the easiest. And I like to buy the bushings for whatever pen kits I'm using from TBC Bushings. It's tbcbushings.com. We have our Zen bushings in here. This is a case that we 3D print just to try to keep things organized. They get inserted like such. These are 60 degrees. They're 60 degrees drilled inside as well. Apply a little pressure, make it tight. We will be turning these with carbide tools this evening. We like to use the Easy Wood tools. This is the Easy Start set. We also have the Micro set and some other sizes, but for basic pens, this one works well for what we do. Okay, you want to adjust your tool rest as close as possible. You want to make sure that you're wearing a visor, some sort of eye protection. Some people say it's not necessary, but I have worked 21 years in the HVAC field. I have seen a lot of eye injuries. You only get one chance to protect your eyes. I personally have a few pair of safety glasses that have screws or other objects that have become dislodged and stuck or embedded themselves in my safety glasses. So I always wear a face shield. This is the one we use. It's from Uvex. It works really well. I don't have any issues with it. I apologize, that was really close. But I'll put a link to it. And I'll put a link to the TBC bushings as well. I'll also put a link after the live to the MLCS straightening tool or blank squaring jig or squaring tools. It's super handy. It's always worked really well for us. We also will be updating our website with some of the 3D printed products that we make. We also carry a holder for your CA glue. This is thin, medium, and thick, or medium and thick. As well as we will be putting some of these up for sale on the website as well. Okay, we're going to start the dust collector, so bear with us. You'll see us turn roughly about 2,600, 2,700 RPMs. It's different for everybody. This works for us. Some people prefer slower, some people prefer faster. All right. The Zen can be turned many different styles. You can put ripples in it. You can put different effects in it. I always like to try to turn down to my bushing to where there's just barely an edge so that by the time you get done finished with your Zona paper, it'll be dead true with your bushings. The nice thing about the TBC bushings is they're really hard stainless steel. So if you accidentally touch it, it won't take much material or any away from it. Now let's get a look at this before we sand it. I think this is going to work. We've not turned any of these yet. We've made some, but this will be the first one of this style that we've turned. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section. I will answer them after the live. This container will be available from our website as well after this evening. So this would be Zona paper. It comes in an 8.5 by 11. We cut it down into roughly 2-inch squares. You will use the green. Will do the most amount of work. I always like to fold them in half so that if I drop them, I know which side was correct, which is pretty simple on the main colors, but you'll see when we get to the last color as to why we do that. Typically, you will use a couple pieces of green per pen, and your other colors will last roughly 3 to 5 pens, depending on what you're turning and your size. Okay, here we are down to the last sheet, and if you accidentally mess that up, it's really hard to tell which side is the smoothest side, being that the white is 22,000 grit. It's really smooth, and the backing is almost as smooth. So we like to fold it in half ahead of time, just in case I make a mistake, which is likely. Okay, put a little water in our sanding station. And we'll turn our RPMs down to roughly 700. If you go too fast with your first stage of sanding, the sandpaper will just skip over most of your spots, and you end up with a blank that is shiny, but it will also feel bumpy. I like to use 2 or 3 points of contact on the sandpaper to create a nice even surface area. If you had a piece of foam, you could use that as well, but the hand works really well. And re-wet your sandpaper, your Zona paper, often. It helps keep it from building up with a bunch of material and also keeps things cool so you don't burn your fingers. Now we'll work on a little bit of detail on the end to make sure that we're true with our bushing. You can see our piece of sandpaper is starting to build up and stay loaded up, or piece of zona paper, sorry. So we will flip it over, and once that side's loaded up, we'll just change it out. Now that most of the heavy work is done, we can speed it up a little bit, and we'll just keep light pressure, work it back and forth. Looks and feels pretty good. We'll do one last paper change, and we should be ready to move on. I always like to rinse it down in between grits. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. And each additional grit after the green takes roughly 30 to 60 seconds because the majority of the work was done by the green. We're going to increase our speed to about 1400. At this point, we are polishing more than sanding. That's the beauty of sandpaper. Okay, we can take a moment, look at our blank, see if we see any issues or inclusions, and I don't believe we see any. This is also a good time to practice in between your grits, to just give it a light twist and go back and forth, just to help keep any radial marks down from polishing or sanding. Okay, we can rinse off, and now we're going to go up to maximum speed of the lathe. I'm sorry, right around 2500 for our paint, because we're a little finer grit. We'll go to maximum speed. There are lots of methods out there, whatever works for you, whatever's within your budget. Sandpaper happens to be the most cost effective for us and produces the best results. And finally, our white. If you're making a wood blank, getting in the habit of going with the grain one direction will help eliminate any radial marks before you put on a CA finish or a wax finish. It'll just help give you a finer finish, a finer product to sell. You can dry it off and look for any imperfections or issues. Nice smooth blank if you traverse left to right. Okay, let's put a little finish on there and make it shine. Johnson's Paste Wax because we have it. Unfortunately, Johnson no longer makes it, and the cost is high when you can find it. But if you're lucky enough to find it at a yard sale or a flea market, you can usually buy it for cheap. But if you look on Amazon or eBay, you'll find somebody trying to sell it for astronomical money. But we like it, it works well, and it gives the pen a nice, smooth, warm feel when it's finished. Just a light coat, and we wait just a minute or so to let it blush up. If you don't have Johnson's Paste Wax, you can use any high quality car polish, or some people really like plastics for using for headlight restoration, and it will restore the shine and clean up your headlights. It's still plastic, just like resin. You can see now it's changed a little bit of a blush to it. And we just lightly buff this. To remove the excess, and now you can see a nice, wonderful shine. Okay, we can take this loose, remove our bushings. Okay, we'll get all of our hardware out and our handy pen press. The Zen kit is one of the easiest to turn, in my opinion. Produces great results. It's a nice weight. The cap is magnetic, and the cap also is magnetic to the tail when it posts. We always recommend to take a utility knife or X-Acto knife and put just a small chamfer in the end before you try to push in your hardware. This will help with insertion, and this will also make things easier, so you're less likely to destroy the work that you've done already. And I would say the colors turned out fairly well on that. Okay, now we'll press it together. We'll put our tail in first. We'll put the front section in next. We look to see if we have any fitment issues by using the TBC bushings. We have no out of round issues. It fits the same everywhere on both ends. Nice tight finish. Okay, we put our spring in. The spring is tapered. The thicker end or wider end goes in the bottom. Your ink will go in next. The beauty of this kit is it will take any rollerball refill, particularly if you are like we are. We prefer the Pilot G2 refills. And thread that piece in. And we have ended up with a very nice finished pen. If you have any interest in the pen, please reach out. If you have any interest in buying blanks for making pens similar to this, please reach out. I apologize. Looks like we've went over our time. We anticipated this to be an hour, so we won't have time to turn the diamond painting pens this evening. But what we will do next week is we will turn 3 of them in next week's live, and we will give away all 3. Thank you very much, and we appreciate the follow. We appreciate your subscriptions. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comments, and I will post links to everything that you saw this evening. Thank you.